to SpaceX Dragon 3 coverage. We're back for the berthing of the SpaceX Dragon to the Earth-facing port on the station's Harmony node. A little earlier than scheduled because the team here on the ground that is controlling the movement of the Dragon to the International Space Station is running a little ahead of schedule, and expect to see it actually berth to the station in about 30 or 40 minutes. Dragon launched to the International Space Station on Friday at 2:25 p.m. Central Time on board a Falcon 9 from Cape Canaveral in Florida, and in the past 2.5 days has made its way to the space station and was just a hour or two ago docked to the space station at 6:14 a.m. Central Time by the crew on board using the space station's robotic arm, Canadarm2. Since then, the team here on the ground has been working the controls of the robotic arm, while the crew on board the station gets things ready on their side of the hatch. At the moment, the team here on the ground is moving the Dragon into what's called the pre-install position, which is about 250 centimeters away from the hatch of the Harmony node, or about 8 feet. Again, the station was captured by the space station's robotic arm with Commander Koichi Wakata at the controls at 6:14 a.m. Central Time, about 2 hours ago, and it's bringing with it to the station 3,500 pounds of supplies, hardware, and experiments, 150 science experiments in all, including experiments that look at growing plants in space and demonstrating laser optics to be used to communicate with Earth, as well as experiments that look at human immune system functioning in space, and cameras for use on the exterior of the space station for Earth observation. It also has inside of it the legs for Robonaut 2, the robotic assistant on board the space station being used as a test bed, and experiments that look at protein crystal growth and plant biology. Once the Dragon is berthed to the space station, the crew will continue making preparations for the actual opening of the Dragon, which won't take place until tomorrow. Continuing to see views here from the cameras on board the space station of the Dragon held in place by the station's Canadarm2. The station and Dragon are 260 miles above the North Pacific Ocean. Just crossed over Japan a few minutes ago and are heading southeast now. Team here on the ground has finished maneuvering the Dragon into its pre-install position and now are working through some camera setup steps before they move on to maneuvering it into what's called the initial alignment position. Though it's difficult to make out, the Dragon continuing on in its movement towards the Earth-facing port of the Node 2 Harmony node on board the station. Moving it into this initial alignment position brings it within about 2 feet of the hatch. You can see here the gap between the station and the Dragon capsule incrementally closing as the capsule moves into that initial alignment position. Once it's there, the team here on the ground will do some verifications and make sure everything is still aligned correctly and ready to go before they push ahead. On the other side of the hatch, the space station crew is ready to actually command the common berthing mechanism to bolt the Dragon into place once it is berthed to the Earth-facing port of the Harmony node. There are 16 bolts that will be driven to hold it securely in place. And flight engineer Rick Mastracchio is in charge of that activity. See him here at the robotic workstation inside the Destiny laboratory at the station. A move from the cupola where he and Commander Koichi Wakata were stationed earlier, as Wakata drove the space station's robotic arm in grappling the Dragon. Flight engineer Steve Swanson joining Rick Mastracchio here inside the Destiny laboratory. Swanson wasn't originally scheduled to be at the station when the Dragon arrived, but some launch delays are enabling him to observe the activities, as earlier this morning Wakata and Mastracchio were able to grapple the Dragon, and now the team here on the ground bringing it in for berthing. Just 1 centimeter to go before the Dragon is in that initial alignment position. This gets it to within just a couple of feet of the space station's Harmony node, where it will be berthed for the next month. The crew will be opening the hatch on it tomorrow morning and begin unloading it after spending much of the rest of today pressurizing the vestibule and removing the controller used for the common berthing mechanism.
Station Houston on 2 for Rick.
Go ahead, Houston on 2.
Rick, we're about to start the final berthing sequence. You can get ready to start seeing some RTLs.
Okay, we're waiting and watching. Thanks.
Now, at the initial alignment position, the team on the ground has verified the alignment and is ready to move into the last movement that will move the Dragon in for berthing.
Houston Station on for the RWS monitor deactivation. Do I have a go to perform that?
And Station Houston on 2, Koichi, we'd like you to just stand by on that for now, please.
Copy.
Team here on the ground continuing to move the Dragon into place on the Earth-facing port of the Harmony node. It is just about there, and after that the team will be able to begin latching it into place. Team here on the ground is continuing to maneuver Dragon slowly into place on the port of the Harmony node of the space station. Station and Dragon are currently 260 miles above the Southern Ocean, and as you can see, just about to reach sunrise for this orbit around the Earth and move into the daytime portion of this trip around. station's moved into just a momentary point where we don't have video, but that should come back in just a minute or so. The team here on the ground is just about ready to berth the Dragon to the International Space Station's Earth-facing point on the Harmony node. Flight controllers have been maneuvering it into place and watching for the indicators that tell us it's ready to latch it into place. They've just about got that done, and once they do, the crew on board the station will be helping them by actually commanding the latches and the bolts actually to drive and hold the Dragon in place on board the Harmony node. And the team here on the ground now confirming that they see all four of the indications that say that the Dragon is in position and ready to latch. That doesn't mean that it's berthed just yet, though.
Station Houston on 2. Gentlemen, the Easter Dragon is knocking at the door. You have a go for step 1 of 1.110 Dragon install.
Okay, Houston, we see the 4 green RTL indications, and you sure got us curious as how you don't move the arm yet get the RTL indications all at the same time like that. But we're going to go to step 2, and we'll let you know how it goes.
Station Houston copies, and we're watching.
Capcom Randy Bresnick calling the news up to the crew that they are, now that they have those ready to latch indicators, they are now go to begin actually capturing the Dragon. You can see all 3 crew members here inside the Destiny laboratory. Rick Mastracchio at the controls of that capture mechanism, along with Steve Swanson in the red t-shirt and Koichi Wakata, commander of the station, here closest to the camera.
Houston Station on 2. Step 3, just verifying stable attitude control config and confirm that the Russian sensors are disabled.
And Swanee, that is confirmed. Go for 4.
Thank you.
That check between Flight Engineer Steve Swanson and Capcom Randy Bresnick, the crew is just there given the go to begin the first stage capture of the Dragon. The team here in the Mission Control Center has gotten it into place on the port, the Earth-facing port of the Harmony node. And now all that's left is to actually latch it into place.
Go ahead.
And Koichi-san, you have a go for the monitor deact for the RWS, and the teardown we're going to keep as scheduled till we get done with all the bolts and all that.
Okay, copy that.
Mr. Accio is using the common berthing mechanism capture latches, driving them into the first stage capture, which is an incremental capture sequence, and then you'll engage the 16 bolts that will actually hold the Dragon in place for the month-long stay at the International Space Station. Again, Dragon is bringing with it 3,500 pounds of cargo, including 150 science experiments, as well as other hardware, crew supplies, and even some spacewalking tools.
Houston Station, step 4, go for SSRMS mode to lift.
Houston copies, that's in work.
Strachio and Swanson have that incremental first stage capture complete and have let the team here on the ground controlling the station's Canadarm2 know that they can not release its hold, but they don't have to hold it in place. They'll keep a grip on it, but the first stage capture should keep it in place and ready for the second stage capture, which is when the 16 bolts that will permanently hold it in place are driven.
And Station Houston on 2 for the capture. We are SSRMS mode is limp complete. We're go for second stage capture. 5.2.1 is complete. You guys have a go at 5.2.2, and the 3 subsequent commands embedded there. And then we'll give you a call once we get the next commands uploaded.
Sounds good. 5.2.2 is in work.
View here of Dragon on the Harmony port, all but berth. They are just now beginning to drive the bolts that will actually signal its berthing to the International Space Station. Just a few minutes away now.
Station Houston on 2 for CBM. You have a go at 5.3.2.
5.3.2 is in work. Thank you.
Station Houston on 2 for CBM. Go at 5.4.2.
In work. Houston Station on 2. Just checking to see if step 5 is required. We believe it is not, and we're ready for step 6 when you are.
And Station Houston on 2, we concur. 5.5 is not required. You go at step 6.
And the Dragon is now officially berthed to the International Space Station. That took place at 9:06 a.m. Central, while the station and Dragon were 260 miles above Brazil. Again, the Dragon now berthed to the Earth-facing port of the station's Harmony node, and bringing with it 3,500 pounds of hardware and equipment, including 150 science experiments that cover subjects ranging from plant growth in space to human immune system function, Earth observation, protein crystal growth, and plant biology, as well as legs for the station's Robonaut 2. All that being delivered on board SpaceX Dragon 3, which now again is officially berthed at 9:06 a.m. Central Time while traveling 260 miles above Brazil. Flight Engineer Rick Mastracchio here, and Steve Swanson just leaving the screen inside the Destiny laboratory where he's working at the robotic workstation and was in charge of actually capturing the Dragon once the team here on the ground had moved it into place at the Earth-facing port of the Harmony node. He just has a couple more steps to finish up that procedure, but again, the Dragon is now officially berthed. That took place at 9:06 a.m. Central Time. Once this is complete, the crew still has some work to do on this side of the hatch. They'll be pressurizing the vestibule, the area between the Dragon and the International Space Station, and getting it ready for the hatch openings on either side, which will occur tomorrow. It'll take place early in the morning so that the crew can get a good head start and begin unloading the hardware and equipment, and in particular some critical science experiments that were brought up on board the SpaceX Dragon 3. Once again, after launching on Friday at 2:25 p.m. Central Time on board the Falcon 9, the SpaceX Dragon 3 has now arrived at the space station and is officially berthed to the Earth-facing port of the Harmony node.
Looks like step 7 is complete. Give a go for SSRMS brakes on.
And Houston copies, go for SSRMS brakes on.
Dragon was captured by Koichi Wakata using the space station's robotic arm at 6:14 a.m. Central Time and just berthed minutes ago at 9:06 a.m. Central Time, while the station and Dragon were 260 miles over Brazil. Now the crew is finishing up the procedures to wrap up the berthing work and will be getting into the preparations for tomorrow's hatch opening. Pressurizing the vestibule between the two vehicles, and then removing the controller that was used to work the common berthing mechanism. They'll open the hatches and begin unloading Dragon tomorrow, including getting some critical science equipment off of it, and then begin with the rest of the supplies and hardware. 8,500 pounds in all that the Dragon brought up. And you can check back in on all of that activity tomorrow during our regular Space Station Live program, which will start at 10 a.m. Central Time. That again is Space Station Live at 10 a.m. on Monday. And of course, you'll want to keep an eye this week on the space station activities, in particular on Wednesday, when there's quite a bit scheduled, starting with the 53 Progress undocking coverage, or its first undocking. This is for a relocation, starting at 3:45 a.m. Central Time. And then coming up after that, at 7:30 a.m. Central Time, we'll begin our coverage of the Expedition 39 Spacewalk 26.
Just to be sure, I'm going for 11.3 for the start powering off the camera. Is that correct? In the 1.4.
During that spacewalk, Steve Swanson and Rick Mastracchio are going to be replacing a failed backup multiplexer-demultiplexer computer relay system on the exterior of the space station. Again, our coverage of that is going to start at 7:30 a.m. Central Time, and the spacewalk itself is scheduled to begin at 8:20 a.m. Central Time on Wednesday. All that's coming up this week on NASA TV, and this is Mission Control Houston.